Militarily Speaking, episode 66, Operation Deploy Your Dress.
This episode, we talk with Yvonne Coombs, CEO and co-founder of Operation Deploy Your Dress.
So welcome to Militarily Speaking, brought to you by Armed Forces Bank. This is Tom McLean and Jodi Vickery. I'm the Regional Military Executive for Armed Forces Bank. And Jodi is the Executive Vice President, Director of Consumer Banking. What a great title. Wish I had that title.
It could just be we'll work for food, but you know. Again, welcome to our show. We're excited to have you listening and learning all about our guest, Yvonne Coombs with Operation Deploy Your Dress. I do want to take just a few minutes, Yvonne, and tell our audience a bit about you, all things that you should know, unless Tom made up extra facts.
The last two paragraphs, don't read them. I changed them. Yeah.
No. This is all true. A steadfast supporter of the military community, Yvonne brings almost 2 decades of expertise to Operation Deploy Your Dress. It's a 501c3 that redeploys new and gently used formal wear to military dependents. As the CEO and co-founder, Coombs manages the company's overall resources and operations. She understands the critical role that partnerships and collabs play in effectively and efficiently serving military families. Operation Deploy Your Dress was originally started in December of 2015 when 5 military spouses at Fort Bliss teamed up to host an event that would assist their unit spouses with finding affordable formal wear. That's almost an oxymoron in today's world, affordable formal wear.
Yes.
You definitely are filling a void to help ease some of the financial burden that accompanies going to a military ball. What began as a casual conversation among friends quickly gathered momentum and received national media attention. Consequently, thousands of gowns, shoes, and other accessories arrived from all over the country. Fast forward 8 years, and Yvonne is now operating shops on 15 military installations around the world with weekly openings and more in the works, even one, the 15th, very recently. I'm sure we'll hear all about that. Through the overwhelming generosity of the American public, Operation Deploy Your Dress has given away over 25,000 free formal gowns. That's a lot of military ball attire.
Oh, yeah.
Thousands of accessories and shoes. They've saved military service members and their families more than $1.5 million, and that's a conservative estimate.
I'd round it up to 3. Yeah.
That's how your math is hard for you, isn't it? In 2020-2021, Yvonne was named the Armed Forces Insurance Army Spouse of the Year and was also named the Northern Virginia Heroes at Home overall honoree in 2019 for her hard work and dedication to the military community as a whole. She loves to show everyone that her efforts are about more than a dress. She's working hard to uphold military traditions, ensure camaraderie, build community, and boost morale. So welcome, Yvonne. It's an honor to have you on our show. We're thankful that you're here with us today. And Tom's already interrupting me.
Yvonne, so when Lori Simmons and AFI, Armed Forces Insurance, host these little concerts, right? You've been a recipient a couple of times. Have you been to the concerts when they recognized you for how great you are?
So unfortunately, our time was during the COVID years. So we didn't get to go to we got some travel stuff on the tail end of our time, but we didn't get the full scale that the usual overall branch winners get.
But you can go as a veteran of the program, if you will, and an alum, right? Couldn't you go to future events so they can recognize you again?
I'm sure I could. I mean, I'll just stand up there and wave, and I'll get the recognition. Don't worry.
Yeah. Tom just goes to random award shows and acts like he's a recipient.
Right. And
so
if it's a good artist, you just let me know and get a ticket for me.
Oh my goodness, you've already digressed. So I would love to just give you the floor for a few minutes, Yvonne, and have you tell us at a big picture view of it what your organization's all about.
So to be quite honest, it's kind of funny. I love telling the story just of how Operation Deploy Your Dress began, because as you said in that initial little overview of what I do, Operation Deploy Your Dress was just supposed to be a 2-day event. It was going to be a 2-day event at Fort Bliss, Texas. We had 3 units on post, 3 big units on post that were having military balls. And I was sitting in on a steering committee meeting for the ODYD that was down there at Fort Bliss. And somebody had said, hey, are you guys going to do a dress swap this year for the ball? The previous command team did a dress swap. And the new ODYD commander's wife looked across the table at me with wide eyes and was like, are you going to help me with that? And I said, sure, I'll help you with that. No problem. So we went home after that meeting, and I had seen on the neighborhood page that a couple other military spouses who were my neighbors had also posted that they were doing a dress swap. So I reached out to them. I said, hey, I just left a meeting. We talked about doing a dress swap as well. Do you guys want to just team up and do one big dress swap? And they're like, yeah, that sounds great. We didn't want our friends and neighbors having to choose who they gave their dresses to. And so we had a goal of getting 200 dresses. We had reserved the community center on post. We were going to put the dresses in the community center on post for the weekend and offer them to anybody who was going to the balls that needed a dress. They could come and take a dress and go about our daily lives after that weekend was up. And we did get some national media attention really quickly while we were gathering the dresses. And our 200 dress goal was quickly exceeded. And we had 3,000 dresses before we knew it.
Oh my gosh.
I happened to be running the main street of Post that goes past all the commanders' houses and stuff. And the garrison commander was out there and he said, hey, how's your dress project going? And I said, it's going, but I might collapse our historic house if I hang one more dress from the support beam in the basement. And he said, well, the gift shop on Post just closed down. Why don't you come to my office? I'll give you the keys. You guys can use the gift shop on Post until you give away your dresses. And so we said, okay. So immediately we went and cleared out the basement and moved everything into the gift shop on Post. And we set up for our first weekend event, realizing that we were going to have to do this for a couple of weekends to get rid of the dresses. And what we saw really quickly was that the dresses were going out, but they were coming in just as quickly as they were going out. And we were like, this is not going to go away anytime soon. And we saw that we knew that the need was there, but then we saw a huge desire to help that we weren't really expecting as much of, right? So the desire for the American population to help. These dresses were coming from all over the country. And so we just kept staying in the closed down gift shop until thinking eventually they're going to kick us out. And almost 8 years later, they haven't kicked us out yet. 6 months later, I was moving to Fort Eustis. And so we said, let's see if this will work someplace else. We needed a place to kind of divert mail traffic to anyway. I reached out to the Spouses Club at Fort Eustis and said, hey, can you guys help us out with this? And they got together with some sergeant majors who built us some racks and put us into an old building that was on Post, cleaned it up. And we set up a dress shop there. And from there, it just kept snowballing, but in a good way. So I often tell people that this has kind of just been this rolling ball that we've just ran along beside and kept it out of the gutters. And it's kind of had a mind of its own. And we've just guided it as best as we can to help as many military and veteran families as we can help.
That's awesome.
You just opened up your 15th, and Jodi alluded to the fact that we talked more about it. You opened up at Fort Leavenworth on September 14th. So after you open these, the 15th one just recently, they just stay up. They're always there, right? Year round?
Correct. So the majority, all of our shops, except for this one here, but all of our shops, sustain shops on the installation. This one at Fort Leavenworth is a little bit different this time because they're still looking for their permanent home. So we have an open shop. They will have open hours 1 to 2 times a month. And then also the ability to do private events for units. Like they just did a private event for I don't know what it's called, but the correctional brigade, whatever that's called out there. They did a private event for that unit's spouses. So unfortunately for our poor volunteers out there, they have to set it up and tear it down after every event right now because they don't have a permanent place on Post. The Post leadership is very good. They were all there supporting at the grand opening, and they're definitely looking for a permanent home for the Operation Deploy Your Dress so that we don't want our volunteers getting volunteer fatigue because it is a lot of work to set up and tear down a whole event. We do one pop-up event a year in the DC area, and I know what it takes to set up and tear down an event. And those ladies are working hard out at Fort Leavenworth to make sure that this program is there for the community, even before we have a solid permanent location for it.
Yeah, that would be a lot of work. I'm only thinking about how much those dresses can weigh.
Dresses are insanely heavy. You don't know how many racks we collapsed when we first started. We realized, okay, only industrial Z racks will work. Yep. Can't just go to Walmart and buy a rack. We need a legit heavy duty rack to hold these things because they'll collapse under the weight.
Oh, yeah. We had that happen in our basement. I had my old military formal gowns in there, and then my husband's uniforms and his dress blue. I mean, all that stuff weighs a ton.
So so you can go off on tangents too.
I can.
So by the way, Yvonne, if the 200 dresses when you first started at Fort Bliss ended up being like 63 dresses, would you have had the same passion, you think, at Eustis then to keep going? Or because it was 3,000, you're like, wow, there's an unmet need. There's a huge demand out there. Then let's take this thing to the next level. Do you think that had part to do with that when it came to the number that was requested?
I think it had a lot to do with that. I mean, I'll tell you something about myself, and I think military spouses in general is we don't give up easily. So I don't know that we would have just taken the
That's
L
Jodi.
and moved on. But I mean, seeing that desire from the American population to help with this event and with this, what ended up being this nonprofit was out there has really helped to drive us to want to continue to help more and more military families, right? It's easy to want to help. It's a lot easier to be able to help whenever you have such a huge community supporting you, behind you and supporting you.
Agreed. So there were 5 of you that started at Bliss, right? 5 of you got together about the dress swap. So can you name the 5 names or like that? Or should I quiz you on those? You got them?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Wait, let me see if I can get one. Liz McHenrick, is that one?
Liz McHenrick. Yep. Liz McHenrick is one.
Yvonne Coombs?
Yvonne Coombs is one. Yes.
Jodi Vickery?
No,
I think
wasn't
I'm
there. You were probably at Fort Hood at the time.
Fort Cavazos now.
Yes, it's Fort Hood in my mind. In my mind, it's still
probably
Fort
in
Hood.
Yvonne's mind, like Fort Liberty. Fort Liberty, where's that? Is that like Fort Bragg or something? Yeah.
Yes, it's Fort Bragg.
So yeah, tell me, all 5 of you still in close contact, and you do things every day?
Every day, yeah. We braid each other's hair and play dress up
Play
every
dolls.
day.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, of course, as the military does, they've scattered us all over the country. So it's myself, Liz McHenrick, Rania Rendon, Melissa Riley, and Renee Chapman. So we do a good job of keeping in touch. Some of us are still more plugged in than others just because sometimes military life requires more attention in other places of our lives than dresses. And so we ebb and flow in and out of Operation Deploy Your Dress as it fits our lives. For some reason, it has continued to fit my life permanently the entire time, so I've not ebbed out of it any. But yes, all of us, we will always be, all 5 of us will always be a part of this organization's history and the foundation that built this organization.
It's very cool. Military spouses have a way of staying close even when you are sort of scattered all over.
Yeah.
All over the globe, actually, not just the country. I noticed on your website that you have several partners listed. Some of them make perfect, total intuitive sense. David's Bridal, Legs. How do those partners engage with you? How are they helping you make a difference with what you guys are doing?
So David's Bridal has engaged. They reached out to us originally to see if there was something that we could do together. For a short bit after COVID, we did start a bridal line of what we were doing. Because during COVID, we had a bunch of wedding dresses, brand new wedding dresses donated to us. And so we thought most of the people we were serving were military spouses. So we didn't need wedding dresses, and wedding dresses take up a lot of space. But we had this huge amount of wedding dresses donated to us. So we wanted to see if there was a way to support the military community with them. So what we did was we kind of extended our reach of who we support. Normally it's a military or dependent ID card holder is how you qualify to get a dress from us. And with the bridal gowns, we were able to say 1 degree of separation from that ID card holder. So a daughter who had already aged out of their ID card, their parent could still get them a wedding dress. We knew it was still going to support the military family. It was still going to help a military family's budget significantly. And so we found other ways that were kind of a degree separation from that military ID card holder to still support the community. So David's Bridal did come in with that. They were able to give us some veils. They were able to give us some accessories, shoes. They helped with the shipping of the dresses to the brides who were receiving the dresses because that program was all done virtually. We figured out a way to get people virtually fitted because remember, it was COVID. We couldn't have people coming into shops. So we came up with a program to get people virtually fitted. We did a really good job of deploying these dresses to them and them fitting somebody when they never even tried it on before they were able to choose it. So we had to get creative with it, but that's how we worked with David's Bridal. And then the Legs and Hanes, they actually provided us with hosiery, some undergarments and stuff like that as well for our shops themselves, and then also to go into the packages that were going to the brides.
Oh, that's awesome. Sometimes those accessories can cost you more than the dress. At least
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
so. Hopefully you don't know about that.
I got nothing.
I will say that we do not do the bridal program anymore. It became a lot on our volunteers, and really we went back to we keep it simple and deploying dresses that people wear to military balls, proms, homecomings, formal events that help them plug into the communities in which they're planted.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Do you need more partners, or are you good with where you are based on your size now? Are you looking for more partners?
Oh, we will always use more partners. It's a great way to connect to the military community, and free dresses doesn't exactly bring in a lot of money. So it's always helpful for us to find partners that are willing to help us continue on this mission of deploying dresses.
I know, I love that. I was thinking about how many military ball photos your dresses must be in around the world. I know. We used to always get the photos when Stephen and I would go to the ball, and then I'd come home and I'd put it in front of the other one in the frame because you can only have so many military ball.
Is that what you did?
I did.
We tend to call them adult prom.
Yes.
You can only have so many adult prom pictures.
And they were always in front of like a waterfall at the hotel. I mean, so it did feel very prom-like, but it's pretty cool to think about the number of photos around the world your dresses are probably in. But
I'm feeling a little out of my element here.
I hope you don't have a photo in a dress.
We had some really cool pictures sent back to us that were in Europe in a castle, and in just all over the country, all over the world, these dresses, and some great letters that were written to us just thanking us for being able to help them get to the military ball. And we never wanted there to be a stigma to getting a free dress from us. And I know that a lot of times military organizations and military programs that you do have to set sometimes they'll set like a rank structure to who can access the programs. We've never had to do that, and we've never wanted to do that. We wanted this to be more of a community around military spouses, helping military spouses and civilian community, helping bridging that gap between the military and civilian community. We didn't want there to be a stigma to getting a dress from us. So there is no rank restriction to receiving a dress. So we have given dresses to everyone from E1 spouses to 4-star general spouses and everything in between. And they all wear them proudly, tell people where they got the dress. And it doesn't have to be them sneaking in the darkness, coming in through a side door to sneak their dress out in a bag so that nobody knows where it came from. Everybody proudly says, I got it from Operation Deploy Your Dress. And it is kind of a sisterhood or a family around this community of deploying dresses.
I know, I love that. And I'm sure it's always been a great feeling to know that you're doing that. But I think maybe even, and now in today's economic environment, people are trying hard just to put food on the table, make ends meet, to know that you guys are playing a part in giving a military spouse a bright spot, giving them something that they're going to feel great wearing, being able to participate in this important event alongside their spouse. That's got to feel pretty good.
It is. And there's so many kind of like roundabout things that have happened from Operation Deploy Your Dress. I joke around and say we're very eco chic, right? But we do help with those items that might end up in a landfill or end up in a less desirable place. Somebody's maybe not going to wear that dress anymore. They're like, oh, we heard about you and it was just going to hang in my closet forever. Or I was going to take it to the thrift store and maybe it would get sold, maybe it wouldn't get sold, whatever. And they send it to us and it finds a new home. That's great. So that's one thing we didn't really think about. We were just trying to get people to a ball. Another thing we didn't really think about were the skills that military spouses are gaining by working in our shops, right? They're using those skills to go out and get employment when they're ready to have employment. A lot of times our volunteers are giving us their time because they don't have the time to get a full-time job. They still have young children at home or whatever the case may be with their military life at that time. It's not conducive for them having a full-time job at that time, but they're running a dress shop. They're keeping inventory. They're managing other employees / volunteers of the dress shop. They're doing all these things that you would be doing in a paid job. And then we're able to help them put that on their resume. I've done so many phone calls from prospective employers saying, yes, this person worked for us. This is what they did. And just being letters of recommendation or references for them who have translated into other jobs. I mean, my own son was our very first intern. He was our marketing intern when he was in high school and college. And that went on his resume and works for Hiring Our Heroes when he first went in and using that marketing and using those skills that he learned working with us, along with other internships that he had throughout his college time. So there's so much positive, more than just giving somebody a dress. And that's why we say it's more than a dress, because so many other things have come out of Operation Deploy Your Dress as a result of this organization growing.
Did you ever think that would happen, right? Because we hire 80% of our folks that work for Armed Forces Bank have a military connection. We always know they're going to PCS somewhere, right? They're going in 2 or 3 years. We always call it the people betterment business, but we give them portable, transferable skills. Whether you're a frontline personal banker or you're in a management role, you're learning pretty valuable skills, just like they would at ODYD, to be able to just build that resume, build that history, build that experience level. And then with you backing it up with recommendations for how they worked on your dime, that's above and beyond. Like you said, it's more than just a dress, that you're helping their lives beyond the dress, right?
Absolutely. And it's just, it's amazing to be able to see. It's heartwarming to, we always said we wanted to be the most fun place to volunteer on a military installation. And I know there are always many volunteer opportunities on a military installation. But I will tell you that Operation Deploy Your Dress, I think, is standing up to what our goal was once we realized this was going to be a thing and we needed to start making goals. It's standing up to what we wanted our goal to be. And we are the most fun place to volunteer on an installation. And it is a feel-good opportunity, but also, like you said, they are gaining those skills that are helping them in their future as well. So it's kind of hard to pass up a fun job that you also get to build skills at.
Definitely.
That's not an oxymoron, Jodi, right? That's utopia.
Yes. Hey everyone, if you're looking for a little extra financial flexibility to take the family on a vacation, tackle that home renovation, or just get through the ups and downs of military life, we've got some great news for our military listeners.
Absolutely. Armed Forces Bank offers access loans that are perfect for handling life's unexpected expenses, consolidating debt, or even making that big purchase you've been thinking about. And with our fast approval process, you can get the funds you need quickly and easily without all the hassle.
At Armed Forces Bank, about 75% of our team is affiliated with the military, so we understand your unique needs. We've been supporting military families for over 100 years, and we're here to help you take control of your finances.
Whether you're active duty, a veteran, or a reservist, we're committed to offering you flexible terms and competitive rates, making sure you get a loan that fits your life.
So if you're ready to take that next step, head over to afbank.com or visit a branch near you. Armed Forces Bank, serving those who serve.
Member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Origination fee applies. Direct deposit relationship required. Loan terms are based on loan amount. So let's circle back to Leavenworth again, since we've touched on it a couple of times. How long ago did you start the conversation to say, we want to stand up one of our operations here at Fort Leavenworth? If you had to pick a calendar time frame, how long did it take from that initial conversation? Maybe it was with the GC, the garrison commander. Maybe it was with any other decision maker on post. But how long from start to finish did it take for you to open this up couple weeks ago?
So this shop was actually a little bit different than our other shops, because it originally started off that we were going to have a distribution center there, meaning we were going to house a bunch of dresses there because it's the center of the country, and be able to push them out to our other shops as they needed them whenever we got bulk donations from companies. We had one of our shop managers who had come from Fort Irwin that was PCSing to Fort Leavenworth. And so she was going to manage that distribution center. And she said to me, hey, I would really like to be able to also just deploy some dresses out of here as well. Like, I understand we need the distribution center, but I would really like to be able to also do some events where we're giving out dresses in this community as well. And so it was through those conversations with her that we really started discussing, let's make this shop number 15. It's great that we're able to have a centralized place to push out dresses to the other shops, but the community could really use this there, and let's make this shop number 15. So as far as how long it was, I'm not really sure, because there was a very phased conversations that kind of phased into, you know what, we need a shop here. But I will tell you that I am extremely thankful for Meredith and Lainey. They were the two ladies who came from Fort Irwin, who were running the shop there and went to Fort Leavenworth. I'm thankful for them being there and making it such an easy transition into our 15th shop at that location. At the grand opening, it was really fun to see, and something I didn't really think about was how many international families there are at Fort Leavenworth, and how many international families we were able to support, because a lot of times they come from their countries with very limited amount of their own personal belongings, but they have military balls, they have formal events that they need to go to, they have children who have proms and homecomings that they need to go to. And they were so shocked when they came in at the selection and that they were able to just take this stuff for free, right? I had one lady, I believe she was from Sweden, if I'm not mistaken, and she said, we don't do this in my country. Like, I feel like I'm stealing something. I said, I promise you, you're not stealing anything.
We're not going to call this
put it
in.
A nice little bag for you. It's a nice little hanging bag, and you're going to take it home, and it's yours to keep, and you don't have to give it back. And explaining it, I explained that whole process a number of times more than I usually explain at these events. But it was great to be able to support so many military families and military families of some of our allied countries as well.
That's awesome.
You think about Fort Irwin, right? There's an international presence. Fort Bliss has the same thing, where there's international, and Fort Novosel, even formerly known as Fort Rucker in Alabama. But I'm thinking about Fort Huachuca. I don't know if you've entertained that as a future expansion plan site, but they seem to have an influx of internationals as well that might resonate with your organization.
Absolutely. I mean, we are always open to new locations. In the back of my head, I won't say publicly, but I have a couple of locations that I have my sights set on right now.
What were those names? What did you say?
The second I put it out there, then people say, oh, an Operation Deploy Your Dress is coming here. And
She's barely met you, yet she knows not to give you secret information. That tells me she's a very sharp lady.
She almost caved. Almost. No, not even close.
That's too funny. So if people have gowns to donate and they're nowhere near where you are, how do they do that? If they're not a company where they can donate like in bulk, but say I go home and I've got that rack downstairs with gowns all over it that don't fit anymore, maybe.
From your adult prom life?
Adult prom life that no longer fit. How do they go about getting those gowns to you?
Absolutely. I mean, we say this all the time. Everybody has something hanging in their closet that they're never going to wear again. And so, like, go through your closet, see what you have. If you've been in a wedding before and you have a bridesmaid's dress, or if you have daughters who maybe have gone off to college or gotten married and you have their previous homecoming and prom dresses, or just any formal gown that you might have, formal and semi-formal gown. If you can go onto our website, operationdeployyourdress.org, you click on locations. All the locations are listed there. There's a mailing address for each of those locations. Just choose the location you want, throw your dresses in a box. You don't even have to be very careful with how you pack them. Some people are very nice and pack them with tissue in between each one. And some people just shove as many as they can in a box. And I'll tell you,
it'll take them either way. Yeah.
They all make
many
it.
times before I've said this, and dresses are very much like military spouses, and they're extremely resilient, and they come out of those boxes, and after hanging them up a little bit, they'll be fine.
Nothing a steamer won't fix.
Yeah, we've got steamers. We're good to go. So we just ask that they're in good, clean condition. They don't have to be freshly from the dry cleaner, but good, clean condition so that they're usable. And yes, send them off to any of our locations, and we'll be glad to get them and donate them, deploy them to another military spouse or military family.
Very good.
I love when you look over at me like.
There's no telling.
So I want to recognize you again, right? If you don't mind me talking about your accomplishments and your awards, right? Can I just say it one more time? So 2018, see if these are right. Military Spouse of the Year at the Pentagon. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
2019 Heroes at Home, Northern Virginia Award winner. And then back-to-back years, 2020, 21, Army Spouse of the Year. So what happened in 22? Your streaks.
You actually are only supposed to win it 1 year. And our year is the only year that won it 2 years. There's an asterisk there because it was because of COVID. But I say it's because we were that good that they needed to give us double the time.
Yes. We'll go with that. I agree.
So as you and I have been connecting ever since Bryce Palmer told me about you months ago when we were
Bryce.
when we were at a civilian award presentation for one of our banking center managers, Tina Farr, that Monica, you probably know Monica Bassett at Stronghold.
I do. Monica Bassett was the Army Spouse of the year after I was.
So there's how the Kevin Bacon story comes together. Mm-hmm. It's the year after you kept the streak alive. But yeah, we were at that presentation and it's probably been months since we started talking. So we appreciate that you found the time to do this today. But I got to believe your day, as we talked about yesterday, Yvonne, is pretty hectic. Your days are hectic and there's always something to do. But so when you wake up every day, besides thinking about being on a podcast with Tom and Jodi, what is the day in the life of for you?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the day in my life right now is preparing for AUSA, which is the Association of United States Army annual meeting. So
when's that coming up?
That is the 14th through the 16th of October in DC. And I think 7 years ago now, at the time it was Patty Barron. She was their family programs director at AUSA. She is now the Deputy Secretary of Defense for Military and Family Policy. I don't know how I remember that, but that is what she is now.
Right there.
That's a lot of words. Yeah.
Yes. But I sent her basically a cold call email and said, hey, I'm a military spouse. This is what I do, blah, 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 blah. I'd love to have an opportunity to talk to you and AUSA about what we're doing and see if there's some way to collaborate. And much to my surprise, she responded and invited me up for a meeting in her office. And so we had a meeting, talked about things that kind of align between ODYD and AUSA, and we're able to end up coming up and signing a teaming agreement with AUSA, which we are the only nonprofit to ever have with the Association of the United States Army, which is kind of cool. So one of those things is every year they bring us to their annual meeting. And if you've ever been to that annual meeting before, it's massive. They've got tens of thousands of people that come to this. Their exhibit hall floor is incredible. I think this year they have like 750 exhibitors on this exhibit hall floor. And we are one of their exhibitors. They have a family pavilion, which is like 20-something, 25-ish booths that military connected organizations can be in. And we are in that family pavilion every year. They highlight Operation Deploy Your Dress, and they really help us get the word out that we exist. And it's kind of fun to see because if you think of a military exhibit hall, you've got helicopters and guns and tanks and everything that you can think of. And then there's a big pink booth of Operation Deploy Your Dress right smack in the middle of it. So I try very hard to do them proud and not just have a table with a mannequin and talk to people, but we really try to get a theme at it and kind of make it a destination stop at their exhibit hall floor. So last year, because the Barbie movie was so big, we had a Barbie and G.I. Joe themed booth, and we had a Barbie and G.I. Joe photo box that had tons of people stopping. Everybody was coming to take pictures in our Barbie and G.I. Joe photo box, and it was really good. So this year I'm working very hard to get our booth theme together and get everything going for that event, which is a lot of hours that build up to that event.
No doubt.
By the way, she is a visionary, right? She had pink ahead of the Barbie. She wasn't thinking about like John Mellencamp or anything with pink houses, right? You see where I'm going with that? But pretty cool. We just like we do at Pear Day. If you've heard know what Pear Day is at Leavenworth, where all the vendors get together. Yeah, we thematically we do the Wizard of Oz theme. So to draw attention to us because there's so much shouting at you at these events, like the AUSA event. There's a lot of vendors. You got to stand out. And you did. You do.
I try my best.
We, on the other hand, put Tom in a 10-man outfit.
Well, you'll have to talk to the spouse, the Fort Leavenworth Spouses Club. That's the theme of their entire year this year at the Spouses Club is Wizard of Oz. So every
You
luncheon,
could be their
every
mascot.
month,
I could be their mascot. I might have to be Toto.
every month they're doing something Wizard of Oz themed for every one of their big events each month and stuff.
I'm sending them the picture that I have. So a little bit on a little bit of a serious note. So this is all amazing things that you're doing. But when you look ahead, and you mentioned you have a couple more sites that you're not going to tell Tom about because he can't keep a secret.
I have them now. She just texted them to me.
But what are the challenges that you see ahead? What are the obstacles that maybe people that hear this podcast or are listening might have an opportunity to help with, whether that be through donations or some other means? But what does that look like as you look at how you execute on those plans that you've got in your mind?
Yeah, there's always challenges financially, yes. To be able to give away free dresses doesn't cost a lot of money, but it does cost some money. So we always have to make sure that we have that in order. We have to do compliance in every state that we have a shop. And so that's paperwork and that's a financial obligation and stuff in each state. So every time we open a new shop, it's not just putting some dresses in a building and saying, okay, we have an open shop. We've got a lot that has to be done on that side. And that falls on our national team, which is a very small team at the top, right? That's running this at the national level. And some of the people on our team have full-time jobs that actually pay them. And so they have to do this in their quote unquote free time when they're juggling families and jobs and everything else. So we're always open to people who have time and expertise, or even not expertise, but just time, and we'll help them figure it out just like we figured it out, to help at the national level to do some of that stuff. Isn't as much fun as playing human Barbie with people in a dress shop, right? It's having to do paperwork isn't as much fun as getting to deploy dresses, but it's stuff that needs to be done. And then also just connecting with different installations where prospective shops are going to go, and connecting with people who are there, connecting with the leadership that's there, letting them know about what we do and why it can be such a good resource on their community is also really big. All of our shops currently are on Army installations, or on the Army side of Air Force installations, right? So
like Joint Base Lewis McChord, right?
Yep. So we have supported military families in all branches of service, and we always do and will support all branches of service. But our physical locations are on Army installations because we're Army spouses and that's where our connections are. But we're not opposed to going and putting a shop on an Air Force base or on a Navy base or a Marine Corps installation. We're not opposed to doing that whatsoever. We just don't have those same connections there. So
good point. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, reach out. We're happy to explore how it gets done on another branch's installation. That's just, we know how to do it in the Army.
So Yvonne, that was just a call to action on our podcast, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Just call Yvonne if you're on an Air Force, Marine Corps, Space. Is that Space Force, right? Do they have any locations or not?
Yes, they do. They have in Colorado Springs, they have like Space Base 1, which isn't that fun to say?
Ooh,
Space Base 1.
That sounds like something you'd see at Epcot.
Right.
Nice.
So we're going to wind this down, Yvonne. A fantastic job. But is there a story, maybe one story that you want to share where, whether it was back in the Bliss days or the Eustis days, or when you kept going to Irwin and all these places where you propped up these locations, any story that really resonates with you that is a lasting memory for how you've impacted someone's life?
I think that we have a number of instances and the stories are all pretty similar. And I've told this story before, but I love telling this story because it just kind of shows the scope of what deploying a dress to somebody can do. And so we were opening a shop one time. It was a grand opening. A spouse showed up. She was brand new to the military. Her service member had just come from AIT. They just got stationed there. and they had found out about this ball, and he had told her, like, we have this ball coming up. I have to go to it, but we can't afford for you to go between a ticket and a dress and blah, 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 blah. We just can't afford it. So she happened to be just out and about. She didn't even know that the grand opening was happening. She happened to be out and about and wandered into the grand opening, found a dress, called him, FaceTimed him from the shop and said, I found a dress. Like, is there any way that you can still get a ticket? Can I go to the ball? Like, I found a dress. And it was a very like Cinderella type of moment, right? You're like, I finished my chores. Can I go to the ball? Like, I found a dress. I found a dress. Like, can I go to the ball? And so they were able to figure it out. I believe the command team helped them to get a ticket just so that the cost of the ticket wasn't a factor for them as well. And they were able to go to the ball. That girl ended up coming back to the shop, telling us that she was able to go to the ball. I mean, she was in tears, came back, told us she was able to go to the ball, ended up volunteering, becoming a volunteer with us and volunteering to help other people get dresses to go to the ball. But that was her very first military experience. They had just moved there that week. Had that experience have been different and there wasn't an Operation Deploy Your Dress there and she was just told, sorry, you don't get to go to the ball, she could have been bitter on the military from day one. And been bitter. I mean, when you get left out of the fun stuff, it's really hard to endure the sucky stuff. But she wasn't. She was able to go. She made friends at the ball who were in her service members unit. She was able to then come and volunteer with us and make friends while volunteering with us and really became plugged into that military community where she still is and still volunteering in that military community all the time. She was like, I think recently she was like the volunteer of the quarter for the Post and stuff. Like she is in it, right? Because she was shown that she mattered and she was able to go and be a part of something. So she wants other people to go and be a part of things as well.
She will be a brand ambassador for life, right? Just because of that experience.
Absolutely. And it's not a one-time thing. This isn't just one time this happened. You know, this happens over and over and over again. Even during COVID, when we weren't able to deploy dresses, we weren't able to get people to military balls. We did a dress up at home challenge where we just told people like, hey, if you're tired of being in your sweatpants and stuff and you want a reason to put on makeup, go put on your dress, put on your fancy dress, do your hair, whatever, and take a picture of you doing your everyday stuff while we're all stuck at home. And that went viral. We had so many people sending us pictures. Some people were mowing lawns in their dresses. Some people were walking dogs in their dresses. Like they were just going around doing their everyday stuff. But then they would send us messages like, thank you for giving me a reason to just feel pretty. Like I felt kind of icky for weeks and months because of this whole COVID thing. But you gave me a reason to put on my nice dress, do my hair, put on makeup, and just have fun and take some pictures. So this is just supposed to be fun. This is just supposed to be feel good. This is just supposed to be building a community. And that's what we've been able to do for 8 years now.
I love that story. I love that you tie it to how that young lady was then almost immediately connected. We've both been probably young military spouses. And if you're not connected when the crazy things happen and he's got to go and you don't know why or you don't know when, and I mean, it does give you at least an outlet for some fun, but also a group of people to maybe commiserate with it. You know, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
It's crazy for all of us, and they uniquely understand that. So I love that story. Love it. All right, Tom.
Now we can play the military minute.
Now it's time to play the military minute. So no pressure, Yvonne.
All right. Got it.
So this first question, if you know the answer, you are welcome to venture a guess. But last week, our military minute was a question about 9/11 based on the guess that we had that time. So what is the name of the structure that was built in the Pennsylvania field to commemorate the passengers on Flight 93?
I just saw this actually.
You did?
We're always astounded when somebody actually might know
I
the
know.
answer.
I didn't go to it. I just saw a friend on Facebook had gone to it. I didn't even realize that was out there, but I don't remember what it's called.
See, Yvonne, this is who we are as a bank.
See, I knew there was a monument. I would never have known the name of it.
But we're all about educating people on something.
This is some trivia
all
game,
right,
Tom.
I'm trying to make it bigger than it
is.
is.
Okay, it was called Tower of Voices.
Yes. I just saw somebody on Facebook like just last week went there.
Oh, she could have won the $50
She
to
could
donate
have.
to her own
She
charity.
could have, but she
Yeah.
didn't. So
Dang
if
it.
you're an audience member and you put Tower of Voices in our social media comments, watch for your name to drop, because that means you would have been selected as the lucky winner of $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice, like Operation Deploy Your Dress. So this week's question that none of us can answer is about military balls. Very appropriate. In what year did the military ball originate? It might be longer ago than you think. But if you are super smart and you know the answer, or you're good at Google, put your answer in the comments when we drop this podcast, and you too could be eligible to win $50 for yourself, or $50 to $50 to a charity of choice. It's not an or, it's an and. And I just want to say one more time, operationdeployyourdress.org. That's the site where all the magic happens. So if you've got questions about how to help, how to get involved, if you've got dresses and formal wear to donate, that's the place to go.
Can I have a head nod one way or the other if you know the answer to the trivia question?
I don't.
Okay. Shh. Stop recording.
That was a verbal head nod.
So if you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did, go out to afbank.com and subscribe to the show. Also, make sure to rate us, leave us a comment on your favorite podcast platform, such as Apple Podcast, Spotify. And Yvonne, we're on YouTube. So when it comes out in a couple weeks, share it with your friends.
Will do.
Thank you so much for being here today. It was a treat to talk to you and hear all about your organization.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all having me. It was great chatting with you guys, too. Whenever I'm out at Leavenworth, I'll have to let y'all know.
Please do.
Definitely. Yeah. I live on the
congrats.
other side of Leavenworth from Kansas City, so that's not too far.
All right. See
All
ya.
right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Copyright Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced herein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as IRS.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.